Section 240.21c of the National Electrical Code permits the omission of secondary overcurrent protection for transformer panel arrangements under specific conditions. One of these conditions is when the secondary conductors do not exceed 10 feet in length. This means that if the conductors connecting the transformer secondary to the panel board are 10 feet or less, a main circuit breaker, or MCB, is not necessarily required in the secondary panel board. The code language clearly states that secondary overcurrent protection is not required if the secondary conductors meet this 10-foot limitation. It is unfortunate when inspections fail to recognize this exception, especially since it is a valid condition for omitting this secondary overcurrent protection. It is possible that panel board manufacturers and distributors might mistakenly omit MCB in secondary panels that adhere to this 10-foot condition. Electrical inspectors should be adequately trained on all code requirements and their corresponding exceptions, specifically including this exemption for secondary conductors that do not exceed 10 feet. It can be beneficial to contact the local inspection authority and explain the relevant code section to them. You can provide examples of installations that are compliant with this particular exception. When installing transformer panel arrangements, always refer back to section 240.21c of the NEC to accurately determine if secondary overcurrent protection is indeed required in its specific scenario. If the secondary conductors do not exceed the 10-foot limit, make sure that this is well documented on the installation record or any other relevant paperwork. If necessary, provide the inspection authority with clear code references and detailed explanations to further clarify the exception for conductors not exceeding 10 feet. If a secondary panel does not have an MCB but still meets the 10-foot condition, consider field modifications to add an MCB as a precautionary measure. There are several key aspects to consider when determining whether secondary overcurrent protection is required for a transformer installation where the secondary conductors are 10 feet or less. Firstly, understanding the specific requirements outlined in NEC section 240.21c is critical. This section provides the conditions under which secondary overcurrent protection can be omitted. Secondly, ensuring that the secondary conductors truly do not exceed 10 feet is paramount. This measurement should be precise and take into account the total length of the conductors from the transformer secondary terminals to the line side terminals of the panel board. Thirdly, proper documentation is essential. The installation record should clearly indicate that the secondary conductors meet the 10-foot requirement, and this documentation should be readily available for inspection purposes. Fourthly, communication with the local inspection authority is highly recommended. If there is any ambiguity or uncertainty regarding the interpretation of the code, it is best to engage in a dialogue with the inspectors to ensure that the installation is compliant. Fifthly, even if the code allows for the omission of secondary overcurrent protection, it may still be prudent to consider adding an MCB as a precautionary measure. This can provide an extra layer of protection and enhance the overall safety of the installation. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides specific guidelines for electrical installations to ensure safety and prevent hazards. One such guideline pertains to the protection of transformer secondary conductors. In many cases, overcurrent protection is required on the secondary side of a transformer to protect the conductors from overloads and short circuits. However, section 240.21c of the NEC outlines certain conditions under which the secondary overcurrent protection may be omitted. One of these conditions is when the secondary conductors do not exceed 10 feet in length. This exception is based on the premise that short secondary conductors are less likely to experience significant overloads or short circuits due to their limited length and proximity to the transformer. When applying this exception, it is crucial to accurately measure the length of the secondary conductors. The measurement should include the total length of the conductors from the transformer secondary terminals to the point where they are connected to the panel board or other overcurrent protective device. If the conductors exceed 10 feet, the exception does not apply, and secondary overcurrent protection is required. It is also important to consider the ampacity of the secondary conductors. The conductors must be sized to carry the calculated load, and their ampacity must be sufficient to prevent overheating or damage in the event of an overload or short circuit. Even if the conductors are 10 feet or less, they must still be properly sized and protected. In cases where the secondary conductors meet the 10-foot requirement, it is essential to document this in the installation records. This documentation should include the measured length of the conductors, the calculated load, and the ampacity of the conductors. This information will be helpful during inspections and can demonstrate compliance with the NEC. It is also advisable to consult with the local inspection authority to clarify any questions or concerns regarding the application of this exception. Inspectors may have specific requirements or interpretations that should be taken into account. By working collaboratively with the inspection authority, you can ensure that the installation meets all applicable code requirements. While the NEC permits the omission of secondary overcurrent protection under certain conditions, it is important to exercise caution and consider the overall safety of the installation. In some cases, it may be prudent to install secondary overcurrent protection even if it is not strictly required by the code. This can provide an extra layer of protection and minimize the risk of electrical hazards. The decision to install or omit secondary overcurrent protection should be based on a thorough assessment of the specific installation conditions, taking into account the load, conductor ampacity, and the potential for overloads or short circuits. By following these guidelines and consulting with qualified professionals, you can ensure that transformer secondary conductors are properly protected and that the electrical installation is safe and compliant with the NEC. Furthermore, when applying the 10-foot tap rule, it is essential to consider the specific requirements outlined in NEC Section 240.21c2. This section provides detailed information on the conditions that must be met for the 10-foot tap rule to be applicable. Firstly, the tap conductors must have an ampacity of not less than 1/3 of the rating of the overcurrent device protecting the primary conductors. This ensures that the tap conductors are adequately sized to carry the load. Secondly, the tap conductors must terminate in a single circuit breaker or a single set of fuses that will limit the load to the ampacity of the conductors. This prevents the tap conductors from being overloaded. Thirdly, the tap conductors must be protected from physical damage. This can be achieved by enclosing the conductors in conduit or other suitable raceway. Fourthly, the tap conductors must be installed in a neat and workmanlike manner. This ensures that the installation is safe and reliable. In addition to these requirements, it is important to consider the specific application and the potential for overloads or short circuits. If there is a high risk of overloads or short circuits, it may be prudent to provide additional overcurrent protection, even if it is not strictly required by the code. The decision to provide additional overcurrent protection should be based on a thorough assessment of the specific installation conditions. When applying the 10-foot tap rule, it is also important to consider the coordination of overcurrent protective devices. The overcurrent devices protecting the primary and secondary conductors must be coordinated to ensure that the overcurrent device closest to the fault will trip first, minimizing the extent of the outage. Coordination studies may be necessary to ensure that the overcurrent devices are properly coordinated. It is also important to note that the 10-foot tap rule is not applicable in all situations. There are certain exceptions to the rule, such as when the tap conductors supply a motor or when the tap conductors supply a transformer. In these cases, other rules may apply. It is essential to consult the NEC to determine the applicable rules for each specific situation. When working with electrical installations, it is always important to prioritize safety. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it is essential to take all necessary precautions to prevent accidents. This includes wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and safety glasses, and following all applicable safety procedures. It is also important to be aware of the potential hazards associated with electrical work, such as electric shock and arc flash. By taking these precautions, you can minimize the risk of accidents and ensure that the electrical installation is safe and reliable. Furthermore, it is essential to stay up to date on the latest changes to the NEC. The NEC is revised every 3 years, and it is important to be aware of the latest changes to ensure that your electrical installations are compliant. Continuing education courses and seminars can help you stay up to date on the latest changes to the NEC. By staying informed, you can ensure that your electrical installations are safe, reliable, and compliant with the latest code requirements. In summary, the 10-foot tap rule is a valuable tool for simplifying electrical installations. However, it is essential to understand the specific requirements of the rule and to apply it correctly. By following the guidelines outlined in the NEC and consulting with qualified professionals, you can ensure that your electrical installations are safe, reliable, and compliant with the latest code requirements. Moreover, always consider the specific details of the transformer itself. Transformers are characterized by their voltage ratio, apparent power capacity measured in volt-amps or kilovolt-amps, and impedance. These parameters are crucial in determining the appropriate overcurrent protection. The primary and secondary voltages dictate the transformation ratio, which affects the current levels in both windings. The volt-ampere rating indicates the transformer's capacity to deliver power without overheating. Impedance, expressed as a percentage, limits the fault current and influences the selection of overcurrent devices. In applying NEC Section 240.21c, it is essential to calculate the available fault current on the secondary side of the transformer. This calculation involves considering the transformer's impedance, the primary voltage, and the secondary voltage. The calculated fault current is then used to select overcurrent devices with appropriate interrupting ratings. The interrupting rating of an overcurrent device is the maximum fault current it can safely interrupt without failure. Selecting overcurrent devices with inadequate interrupting ratings can lead to catastrophic equipment failure and potential safety hazards. In addition to fault current calculations, it is important to consider the coordination of overcurrent devices. Coordination ensures that the overcurrent device closest to the fault will trip first, minimizing the extent of the outage. This is achieved by selecting overcurrent devices with appropriate time current characteristics. Time current characteristics describe the relationship between the current flowing through an overcurrent device and the time it takes to trip. By coordinating the time current characteristics of overcurrent devices, it is possible to isolate faults and prevent unnecessary outages. Furthermore, it is important to consider the ambient temperature when selecting overcurrent devices. Overcurrent devices are typically rated for a specific ambient temperature, such as 40 degrees Celsius. If the ambient temperature exceeds the rated temperature, the overcurrent device may trip prematurely or fail to trip when needed. To compensate for high ambient temperatures, it may be necessary to derip the overcurrent device or select an overcurrent device with a higher temperature rating. Also, consider the type of load being served by the transformer. Different types of loads, such as motors, lighting, and heating equipment, have different current characteristics. Motors, for example, typically draw a high inrush current when starting. Overcurrent devices must be selected to accommodate these inrush currents without nuisance tripping. Lighting and heating equipment, on the other hand, typically draw a steady current. Overcurrent devices can be selected to protect these loads from overloads and short circuits. Consider the specific requirements of the load when selecting overcurrent devices. Lastly, document everything. Proper documentation is essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical installations. Documentation should include the transformer's nameplate data, fault current calculations, overcurrent device selection criteria, coordination studies, and any other relevant information. This documentation should be readily available for inspection and maintenance purposes. By following these guidelines and consulting with qualified professionals, you can ensure that transformer installations are safe, reliable, and compliant with the NEC. Furthermore, continuous education is crucial in staying abreast of updates and revisions to the NEC and industry best practices. The electrical field is constantly evolving, and staying informed is essential for providing safe and effective electrical services.